And what animal did that to her?
It was more like a man.
Soon enough, that thing out there.
Welcome to Screen Recaps, and today we're going to be recapping the movie Howl. In a train station in London, train guard Joe is finishing his shift. When he reaches his locker, he finds a letter saying he didn't get the promotion he applied for. Furiously crumpling the paper, he's interrupted by the supervisor asking Joe to cover the night shift because the night guard is sick. Initially reluctant, Joe notices Ellen, his crush, will be tonight's trolley girl, and reluctantly accepts the shift. As the train departs, Joe begins inspecting passengers' tickets. Most cooperate, but some react poorly to his diligence. A woman's dog startles him with a growl, mistaken for a threat. Kate claims she lost her ticket and argues when Joe issues a fine. In a quiet moment, Billy changes into more comfortable clothes and Joe notices a bathroom door leaking water, marked out of order. When Joe awkwardly tries to ask Ellen out, she turns him down, exacerbated by the attention of passenger Paul. The journey continues smoothly through rainy weather until a sudden jolt halts the train in a wooded area. Investigating, Joe hears a noise behind a door, but it's only Ellen's trolley fallen. Adrian assists in retrieving it, revealing 2 sets of Adrian's keys dropped during the commotion. Concern grows among passengers as Tony the driver fails to respond on the radio. Unknown to them, Tony has left the train to inspect damage caused by hitting a deer stuck in the wheels. Attacked by a creature, Tony's disappearance remains a mystery, obscured by the rain washing away evidence. Joe, growing impatient, enters the control car with his keys but finds it empty. He scans outside, searching in vain for Tony. Contacting the rescue team, Joe learns they're delayed due to storm-related accidents, estimating a 4-hour wait. Informing the passengers triggers panic, worsened by news of Tony's disappearance. Adrian intervenes forcefully, suggesting they walk to the next station for help, as phone signals are unreliable. The tense situation on board the stalled train escalates as uncertainty and fear grip both passengers and crew alike. Joe tries to explain the danger and risks of leaving the safety of the train, but the passengers insistently pressure him, leaving him no choice but to agree to guide them. As Joe unlocks the door, the group forms a line and cautiously walks beside the train, oblivious to someone watching them from the nearby woods. Eventually, rustling in the bushes catches their attention, prompting Joe and Ellen to investigate. To their horror, they discover Tony's mauled body on the ground. Hastily returning, Joe urges the passengers to quickly reboard the train just as distant howls and growls fill the air. It takes a frantic moment for Joe to unlock the door, during which the creature manages to bite Jenny's leg as she and an elderly couple struggle to climb aboard. The group finally pulls her inside and secures the door behind them. Ellen tends to Jenny's wound, washing it with water and dressing it as best as possible, while Billy and Matthew peer out the window with a flashlight, unable to discern anything in the darkness. When Joe verifies the door is secure, the monster pounds on the train car, its claws scratching ominously. The group maintains absolute silence, listening anxiously until the creature's howls recede into the distance before daring to speak again. Joe heads to the control car to use the train phone but finds no signal. Billy, revealing he's an engineering student, inspects the controls and identifies a fuel leak that caused a line rupture during the crash, preventing the train from moving. Outside, they notice the train's antenna is broken, likely damaged by the creature. Back with the passengers, Joe informs them of the situation, sparking a debate about the creature's identity. Adrian suggests it's a bear, but Nina points out bears don't howl. Jenny suggests it might be something more human-like, but the idea is dismissed as shock-induced paranoia. Disturbed by noises from another car, Joe, Billy, and Adrian investigate, discovering Paul stuck in a bathroom since before the crash. Returning to the group, Paul recounts his ordeal, more concerned about missing his stop than the creature outside. As time passes, Jenny's condition worsens, her wound festering and fever mounting. Kate, trying to comfort young and frightened Nina, shares stories about her own daughter. Suddenly, the creature pounds on the door again and leaps onto the roof, causing the train's lights to flicker. Nina's phone briefly gets signal, but before she can call for help, the creature smashes through a window, seizing Nina by the legs and dragging her out as she screams. Kate attempts to grab Nina's hand, but Matthew pulls her back, preventing her from sharing Nina's fate. They hear the creature savaging Nina on the roof, blood smearing the windows. Terrified, the group hurriedly seeks refuge in another car, and Kate expresses her frustration that no one attempted to save Nina. Arguments escalate until Jenny's husband Geth intervenes sternly, reminding everyone they must unite to survive. They find a box of tools on the train and use pieces of the seats and other materials to fortify the car's entrances. As time passes, despair settles over the group. Jenny and Kate reflect on not knowing Nina's name, and Jenny shares her regret about never having children. In a quiet moment, Adrian confides in Joe, revealing his dual life with a family and a secret apartment for his less respectable activities. Adrian proposes an escape plan, suggesting they leave the weaker passengers behind. Before Joe can respond, Jenny vomits blood and loses 2 teeth, sparking another round of arguments about their next steps. Amidst the chaos, Joe realizes Paul is missing. They discover the barricade has been moved and tensions rise until Joe and Billy persuade Adrian to let them search for Paul. Joe enters the adjacent car and finds Paul trapped in the bathroom again. As Joe attempts to open the door, the bathroom light shatters and the creature attacks Paul from above. Unable to save him, Joe watches in horror as Paul is brutally mauled. Returning to the group, Joe finds Adrian blocking their way back into the car. Adrian hears the commotion and decides to flee the train for his own safety, removing the barricade from the boarding door. However, Joe holds the key, trapping Adrian outside. Meanwhile, Joe struggles to reopen the door as the creature approaches. Just as Joe is about to be attacked, the others manage to pull him inside and reinforce the barricade. Adrian futilely attempts to break a window with a fire extinguisher. The creature breaks through the barricade, causing Ellen to freeze in fear. Joe intervenes quickly, pulling her out of harm's way before the monster can strike her. The creature turns its attention to Joe, roaring in his face, but Ellen stabs it, momentarily distracting it. The group overwhelms the creature, attacking it with whatever objects they can find. Billy is briefly seized by the creature but is saved when Adrian strikes its wounded area with a fire extinguisher. Matthew joins the fray with a fire axe, relentlessly striking the creature until it finally succumbs. In the aftermath, Matthew, overwhelmed with emotion, is comforted by Kate. Examining the creature, they notice a ring on its finger, prompting Matthew to speculate it might be a werewolf. Adrian reminds them that those bitten by a werewolf can also transform, raising suspicions about Jenny. They cover the creature's body, and Geth shares the tale of a train derailment in the area many years ago, adding an eerie layer to their ordeal. The authorities discovered many bodies missing, and others mauled, but an explanation was never found. Geth concludes the werewolf killed them back then too. At that moment, the beast wakes up and howls, so Joe immediately starts pounding its face with the fire extinguisher. In the forest, other werewolves hear the howl of their dying leader. Suddenly, Jenny's face starts changing and she growls. Adrian wants to kill her before she fully transforms, but Geth won't let him. The other passengers also push Adrian back, but he fights against their hold, refusing to give up. He breaks through and starts choking Jenny, so Joe punches him to knock him down. Then the group agrees to tie up both Adrian and Jenny using belts. Afterward, they decide on a plan. Billy will try to fix the train and teach Alan what buttons to press to get them out of there as soon as the train reacts. Joe makes a speech through the speaker, trying to keep everyone's hopes up. Matthew and Billy get off the train and quickly find the leak. While Billy gets under the train to fix it, Matthew keeps watch. Inside, Kate reveals she and Adrian had a fling some time ago, but Adrian doesn't bother to remember any of his one-night stands. Jenny starts having trouble breathing, and Adrian insists they should do something before it's too late. At that moment, Matthew hears a noise in the forest and goes to investigate, leaving Billy without light. In the forest, Matthew hears Nina crying for help and follows her voice, only to find her body on top of a tree being devoured by a werewolf. Terrified, Matthew tries running away. However, the werewolves soon surround him. He tries defending himself with his axe to no avail, and the werewolves jump on him, devouring him alive. In the train, everyone hears Matthew's screams as he dies, followed by a loud howl. Jenny freezes, and Adrian keeps asking Kate to kill her. Billy finally fixes the train and the lights come back. Joe and Ellen try to figure out the controls. Soon, the werewolves approach the train, so Billy grabs the car and lifts his body to hide until the monsters go away. Unfortunately, they appear at the front window, startling Ellen and Joe, who finally activate the train. Billy has to hold on to the car again, not to be left behind. Suddenly, Jenny finishes transforming, so Kate rushes to release Adrian before Jenny breaks free with her new strength. Adrian tries to help Geth, only for Jenny to knock him down. At that moment, another werewolf appears at the door and grabs Kate, who cries for help. However, Adrian kicks her, pushing her and the werewolf off the train. The train speeds away and Kate is left behind, quickly becoming werewolf food. As Geth tries to make his wife see reason, Adrian tries to fight Jenny again, hitting her with a wrench. Furious, Geth punches him back before he can kill her. Then Jenny jumps on her husband and bites his neck, causing his blood to rain. While Jenny tries to go after Adrian, Billy struggles to hold on and accidentally breaks the repairs he did, causing the train to stop again. Joe and Ellen rush out of the control car and stab Jenny right before she can kill Adrian. Then an angry Joe jumps on Adrian to beat him up, but Ellen stops him. The werewolves use the chance to enter the train, so Joe and Ellen rush to lock the door. Adrian realizes he'd have a better chance to escape if one person stays behind his bait, so he knocks down Joe. It's not enough to leave him unconscious, and Joe immediately retaliates, triggering a fight. While the men struggle on the ground, Ellen grabs a piece of sharp metal and cuts Adrian until he lets go of Joe. While Ellen takes care of her friend, Adrian blocks the way and grabs the keys from the door before jumping out of the train. The werewolves quickly surround the duo, but before they can attack, Billy appears with a Molotov bomb ready. He throws it at one of the werewolves, causing it to burn and starting a fire. Then he lights up a torch and scares the other monsters into stepping back into the other car while giving Joe and Ellen a crowbar. This allows the duo to force the door open and jump out of the train while Billy gets captured and killed too. As Ellen and Joe run through the forest, they can hear the werewolves coming after them. Deciding it's too late, Joe kisses Ellen before telling her to go because he'll stay behind as a distraction. Crying, Ellen finds a path to run away while Joe starts fighting the werewolves with the piece of metal, managing to stab one of them. No matter how hard he fights, though, the werewolves overpower him, and he ends up getting bitten. Moments later, Ellen makes it to the next train station with Joe's name tag in hand. Meanwhile, Adrian continues to run through the forest and finds some clothes on the ground. The werewolves suddenly surround him, and a newly transformed Joe jumps to attack.
I thought I was